We believe that cats are simply the best pets. They're the cutest, they make us laugh, they know how to go to the toilet on their own, and they love to cuddle. For many of us, cats are also kind of a substitute for children. But what happens when a cat lives with a pregnant woman? Can it be dangerous for the expectant mother, and why should it be? Find out in the following video. Danger to pregnant women. Perhaps you've heard of toxoplasmosis. This is what is called a zoonosis, which is an infection that can be transmitted from animals to humans. The trigger is a parasite, Toxoplasma gondii. This parasite especially likes to choose our velvet paws as its first intermediate host. And in fact, almost all cats can ingest this parasite, regardless of whether it is an indoor or outdoor cat. This is because pathogens feel very comfortable in raw minced meat. If the cat eats this, it can become infected with toxoplasmosis. In itself, this is not a big deal. Most cats survive this infection without symptoms, are then equipped with antibodies, and do not fall ill a second time. The same is true of human beings. If symptoms do appear, they often resemble a flu-like infection and subside after a few days. However, and here comes the but, with one restriction: pregnant women and especially unborn children are considered a risk group. The parasite is extremely dangerous, in particular for babies in the womb. Why? An infection can cause malformations, disabilities, and, in the worst case, even the death of the unborn child. So, can I never love cats again? Should I reconsider the idea of getting a cat if I'm pregnant? Or even give up the cat? These two questions depend on one important and decisive factor: has the woman already been infected with toxoplasmosis before pregnancy? If so, she has the necessary antibodies. Thus, she's not likely to become infected a second time. In this case, it should be safe to bring a cat into the house. But the situation may be different if an infection has not yet occurred, because then no antibodies are present. Do you want to have a child, but you don't know if you have already had toxoplasmosis? Then it's best to have this clarified beforehand by means of a blood test. Then you can start thinking about getting a cat. In general, though, it can make sense to hold off the purchase if you're not sure the cat might be a danger. Abandoning the cat later is not an option for loving cat owners. In this sense, if you already have a cat at home, you should focus on risk minimization. More about this in a moment. What do pregnant women need to be aware of? We have already mentioned that parasites can be found in raw meat, among other things. So the first rule is not to feed it to your cat. Instead, it should be cooked at least at 158 degrees Fahrenheit. During pregnancy, it is best to give your cat prepared food, which is almost always pre-cooked. In addition, the pregnant woman should also make sure that certain hygiene measures are observed. There are two essential points. 1. If you do feed your cat raw meat, put on disposable gloves and throw them away afterwards, or let someone else in the household take care of feeding the pet and cleaning the bowls. 2. Do the same for the litter box. Ideally, someone else will do all the work around the litter box during the pregnancy. If you have to do it yourself, wear gloves. But you should also take into account other things that have nothing to do with your pet. It doesn't always have to be the cat that transmits toxoplasmosis. The parasites can hide just as well in the garden, like in strawberries, for instance, or in unfiltered water. So, before suspecting that the kitten may become a risk factor, these things should also be considered. By the way, the so-called Toxoplasma oocysts are excreted by an infected cat after 2 to 5 days. During this time they are also contagious. For the litter box, this means not only immediately cleaning, but also disposing of the cat's droppings separately in a closed bag. Do you always find your cat waiting for you at the door when you arrive home? Do you want to know what it means? Click on the image on the left and you'll find the answers. Or are you interested in the most stupid mistakes people often make when dealing with cats? Find out what these are by clicking on the image on the right.